Hi, happy Halloween. Let's get this party started.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.
All right, welcome back to Not My Rabbit Hole. So today's Halloween. I know what's really fun with StreamYard is they have these fun little graphics for Halloween that you can use in the background. So I decided to choose this one. So I think it's kind of fun. Maybe I'll pick out another one for later on in the show. So today is Halloween 2025. And it is my mom's birthday. So I had lunch with her today. We went to the Red Lobster for lunch and had a really wonderful time. She is 84. My mom is 84. So happy birthday, Mom. So when I think about Halloween, it's really my mom's birthday for me, really. So it was really, anyway, I just wanted to share that. New news. All right. So I upgraded my iPhone and I'm getting the iPhone 17 Pro Max and I'm going to do 1 terabyte because my current phone has so much content on it from, well, a lot of it has to do with journalism, has to do with my studies, lots of videos, lots of recordings of interviews. And I think I only had 128 gigabytes. So I'm excited to get the new i17 Pro Max to see. I heard like the cameras that it's got 3 cameras on the back. And then it takes I think you can even take images where photos where, like, let's say somebody jumps in you can get the shutter speed fast enough so that when let's say somebody jumped in the water, you can freeze the water, in motion. And it's pretty incredible because usually you had to use a digital camera to do that. So I'm excited to play with the new phone. It might be here tomorrow. I got the case today and I didn't get, like, a lot of people are talking about that orange color and how it fades to pink with the new with the iPhone 17. And I chose the blue color because I don't want to, since I read that maybe that orange wasn't all that great, I decided to choose a different color. So Yeah, I have the i14 right now. So, and it was only 2 years ago, and it's weird, but it's just not acting right. And uh, I don't know. Maybe they make them so they last less and less now. I don't know. Another thing I want to bring up, and I forgot about that this interview was on this day, but it's a 10-year anniversary that I interviewed Max Spiers on Revolution Radio. And I've noticed, like, in the last 48 hours, I guess maybe YouTube is putting it out in front of people because it has been 10 years. I don't know, but it's like the video has gotten like 3,500 hits, I think, in the last 48 hours, and lots of comments and lots of really wonderful comments, and comparing what Max said back then to what's happening present today, 10 years later. And I went and shot Vanessa Bates a quick message to let her know how popular and how much people are thinking about Max right now today. And so because of that, first of all, how does this pertain to LARP world? Well, what's shocking is David Schurter. Hi, Orlando. He just came in here. I have a little window where I let him go out onto the balcony. Hello, Orlando. Do you want to say hi? Yes. Want to say hi? Yeah, you want to say hi to the audience? We say happy Halloween? Want to say happy Halloween? Want to come up here? Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, that's Orlando. And yeah, I should open the box. There's a photo that I took of Orlando where he was jumping out of the refrigerator in mid-flight when I got my iPhone for the first time a couple years ago. And I submitted it to a pet calendar, and he got the month of January for 2025, which is really exciting. So, yeah, he's got quite the personality. My cat does. Now, I want to, the reason why the Max Spiers thing, right, video and everything kind of fits in the LARP world, because David Schurter has many times said that I never interviewed Max Spiers, when in fact I have. And also Angela Parra-Disney has said the same thing when she full on knew that. I mean, she was around the time when I was interviewing him, and I interviewed her shortly afterwards on American Freedom Radio. So both of those LARPers are liars. And so I'm just going to throw that out there. It's weird that people, for whatever reason, for whatever agenda they have, can say that you never did something that you actually really did. So anyway, I thought I'd play a little bit just in remembrance of him as we get started. And I pulled up the video here. I'm going to do a screen share. This is my viewership here. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play.
You see, I grew up in America. I grew up in the land where phrases like, I have a dream, meant something. I grew up where I believed that freedom existed, that that's what I was fighting for, that our founding fathers made America the land of the free and the land of the brave. This is America, damn it, and I'm taking it back.
And now your host, Tere Joyce.
All right, welcome to the Freedom of Joyce show tonight. I am Tere Joyce, your host, and happy Halloween. Happy Halloween 2015. I'm actually, today's been a day of synchronicity for me. Actually, I'm drinking out of a Halloween coffee cup that I just happened to pull out of the cupboard that I'm house sitting at. I'm actually house sitting for another host here on Revolution Radio, Sean David Morton, who is on a conspiracy cruise with his wife Melissa. And so I'm here broadcasting tonight
Okay, yeah, and you know what? I want to kind of fill you in on this. At this time, I was put myself back here. I was house sitting for Sean David Morton, and Sean David Morton, we kind of had a blowout. I mean, we never mended our friendship before he passed away. But I want to give a remembrance for Sean David Morton because despite everything, I think that he was a very charming man. And he really was. There was only one Sean David Morton, and he's been really a legend in UFOlogy. So I just wanted to say something nice about him. But yeah, I was house sitting in Redondo Beach when I did this interview, and I wanted to talk about Hollywood and the occult aspect of Hollywood. I was very, very curious about that subject at that time. As you know, I'm still curious, but I have a lot more knowledge about it now. Oh, so I'm trying to figure out, like, what did I do here to get? I changed the thing here. There, that's what I want. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I'll let it play for a while. I won't interrupt.
On Halloween near the Redondo Beach Pier. And also, I want to take a moment to, I'm sure she's not listening right now because she's celebrating her birthday dinner, but maybe she'll listen to the archive. I just want to wish my mom, Joyce Beamer, happy birthday. And so it's also my mother's birthday, which is all kind of ironic too. But we're going to get here in the show in just a moment. This is the perfect Halloween show because in just a moment, I'm going to bring in our guest, Max Spiers, who we're going to be talking about MK Ultra, the occult, and also the military industrial complex. And by the way, in Hollywood, in the entertainment business, a lot of the focus is going to be on that tonight, which I have an interest in, and I have for a very long time lately. Specifically, since I myself have worked or do work, but I did work quite a bit in the Los Angeles area in Hollywood. I've been on numerous sets, Paramount, I mean, all of them basically. And, also worked on an NBC reality show as well, had that experience. And what's interesting about this correlation is, I'm reading a book that's at Sean David Morton's house called Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, by David McGowan. And it's a very interesting book to read, and it's talking about what happened in Laurel Canyon in the 1960s with the Mamas and the Papas and Crosby, Still and Nash and Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison, as well as Frank Zappa, and their connection to the military-industrial complex and the social engineering and design of that juxtaposition against the Vietnam War. I've been extremely curious in it. And as I was reading the book today, I kind of realized that even myself, I'm a little bit of like even 1 degree away from separation to being connected to some of the people that this book is even writing about. I've lived in Los Angeles since 1984, and pursuing stand-up comedy and the acting career. I mean, show business was something that I really wanted to go into, not realizing that the leg of the entertainment industry is connected to the occult and witchcraft and Masonic symbolism and what do you get, like Hollywood Boulevard? I don't know if anybody knows this, but the Jimmy Kimmel Show is actually taped out of an old Masonic temple that's on Hollywood Boulevard. If that doesn't ever question and make you wonder, like, what's going on here? I think it definitely should. And the where the Laurel Canyon is located and what it's connected to, and how it's also related to the Getty and the Getty Museum, which I know that many people who are familiar with our station, we have Stephen D. Kelly, who wrote his book about and how the elite have underground bases, etc. So, I don't want to take too much longer because I want to get on with the show. But before I do, I just want to let everybody know out there that Revolution Radio is the #1 listener-supported radio network out there. So it's because of your dollars that we're able to stay here on the air. So give us a little Halloween treat with your dollars and keep supporting us tonight if you can by going to our support site at Freedom Slips or freedomslips.com. Right now, I'd like to introduce to the show, he's been here on Revolution Radio before. He also is mostly, came out a while back as being a super soldier as well. And we're going to talk very briefly about that and his history. But I'd like to welcome to the show, Max Spiers. Thank you for being here tonight, Max.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been really looking forward to this show.
Definitely. That build up with the Laurel Canyon thing too. Interesting that you had that book there. I've read that book because I was fascinated by the whole Laurel Canyon scene, 60s and up until present day. Now it continues. It's military run, like you said. So that was very interesting that you had that book there.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I realized today, too, that I had read certain passages of the book before, I think, online. So even when I was reading it, I was like, wait, I've read this before. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I thought, well, maybe I actually time traveled and read it before. But I'm just kidding. But
sometimes it's reminding you of things that you've just forgotten. Sometimes I'll pick up a book and the information that I read, I'll go, I knew that already. But I'd forgotten it. So it could have been that.
Yeah, that happens. I've had similar things. I think a lot of us have that happen to us where it's not like you're particularly in some ways learning new information, but you're kind of being reminded of information that you somehow know for some
because we're all walking around in amnesia and slowly remembering the things that were always inside of us, because all the answers essentially are inside of you, not outside of you.
Yes, that is true. I wanted to, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about your background and how you come to this information?
I was so nervous to interview him. So I can hear it in my voice when I'm re-listening to it again.
Yeah, of course. I grew up, I remember growing up, first memories, 2, 3, 4 years old, of seeing things in my bedroom when I would wake up in the night. I would wake up in the night and I would see what I know now to be orbs and different things, shadow sort of beings, orbs in the room when I would wake up in the night. So I was always sort of connected and knew that there was. I didn't have anyone to speak to about it really, because it's children, when they talk about those things, are generally the closet monster or the boogeyman under the bed are usually pushed away. But this was continued on. And as I became a teenager, I became obsessed with finding out what was actually going on. And as I continued to study, I was more and more interested, even as like mid-teen, 15, 16, 17, in mind control. And it was something that nobody else around me, and this was mid-90s, nobody else was talking about it. And I was fascinated more and more by it. And as I studied it more and more, I realized that we're drawn to things. We're magnetically drawn to specific subjects, topics, people, because they're there to teach us something or explain or remind you of something that's going on. And I found 2002, 2003, I started running into people who had similar stories to me. I lived in New Zealand from 2000 to 2004, and that's pretty much the opposite side of the world from the UK, and I started to meet people who had very, very similar experiences to me. And so studying that, with my mother when I was a child, she's an astrologer and a tarot card reader. So I had a basic understanding of archetypes and astrology. So I began to understand that the cities that I'd lived in throughout my life seemed to be laid out in a specific way, in a geometrical way, where a courthouse would always be in a specific place, the police station would always be in a specific place. So then I started identifying numbers connected with different places, libraries. I noticed how they were doing that. So that led me then to in March of 2008, I'd moved back from New Zealand. I'd moved to LA. I'd lived sort of near where you are now. And in March of 2008, I went through a period of 2 weeks, and I've talked about this before. From what I understand now, with trauma-based mind control, it happens this way. When a child is traumatized before the age of about 3, before the age of 6 and before the age of 3, when a child is traumatized before the age of 3, it immediately creates an amnesiac barrier, so the child doesn't have to keep reliving the experience of whatever the trauma was. Mind control has been going on since Egyptian times and before then. So they've just sort of refined it through the Second World War, through the Nazis, through the Second World War. They sort of refined it and got it down with technology and with the occult. So they have it down now to a perfect science. And what had happened around the age of 30, 31, there often can be a bleed through where nothing can hold those memories in that spot anymore. So it can be compared to a schizophrenic breakdown, but by categorizing somebody as schizophrenic with that, you're sort of kind of dismissing and not realizing that there's a lot more going on with it. As I had these memories come through, I started to realize that the timeline and the events that had happened in my life didn't make sense and didn't fit exactly how I thought they had. And this 2-week period, which I'm not going to go into now because I've spoken about it before, but this 2-week period literally woke me up to literally flip my life on its head. And so by the end of 2008, I had to get involved in exposing or finding out what was really going on. And so I will go into that, but March of 2008 was when I knew that I needed to open up and speak to anybody about this. And very, very quickly, I drew to me a lot of people who were having the same things.
Very interesting. We spoke a little bit earlier before the show, and you said in 2008 this kind of happened around Heath Ledger's death, and that you had a connection to him.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a background in the entertainment industry because my grandfather was an a British character actor. My mother growing up was around a lot of celebrities, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. Heath Ledger was one of the children who was so there's programs. There are programs that are put together, and they pick specific children from specific bloodlines.
And you know what? I want to show you Max's grandfather. Okay, just because he's talking about him, but I want to show you who his grandfather was. Herbert Percy. And this is him right here. He was this is IMBD. And let me do the fair use here for a second, because we are just educating the public. So let me change this, my banner here. So Herbert Percy, his mini bio is the massive, brooding face and nose of British actor Percy Herbert. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Is familiar to moviegoers and TV audience alike. A seemingly unlikely stage discovery by no one less than the great Dame Sybil Thorndike of British theater, Herbert moved into movie roles by the early 1950s. Initially fitting in as a featured Cockney character, he nevertheless moved on to a variety of roles, especially as British and American soldier characters. Some notable early ones being The Bridge on the River Kwai in 1957 and The Guns of Navarone. An interesting coincidence is that his character's name was Gauguin in both movies, though he was promoted from a private in the first movie to sergeant in the second. He always seemed at home, lending a believable accent and memorable presence to such as the menacing Baron, who joins in the killing of Archbishop Thomas Becket, Richard Burton in Becket, 1954, the hapless Confederate soldier with a broad Southern accent of Mysterious Island in 1961, and the sensible Scottish-American deputy McGregor in TV's short-lived Cimarron Strip in 1968 with Stuart Whitman. In the course of over 90 film appearances, Herbert fitted in and lent to genres from fantasy and horror to history and drama with a sort of sturdy and matter-of-fact competence, which makes him a most memorable big and small screen presence. So that is Max Spiers' grandfather. I don't know if a lot of people know that. I mean, I think they know that he had a famous grandfather that was an actor, but I thought maybe I would just add a little context and share that with you and show you who he was.
And which are bred for specific bloodlines, for specific roles. And Heath was bred for that, and all his movies were done in a ritualistic sense. So each one was done to show you, almost like all his movies were done as a large tarot card reading. The Hanged Man, the Joker is used, the Death card is used. So what I've begun to understand, that some of these people, so the roles in Hollywood, the roles that they get are just giant ritualistic or ceremonial magic pieces rather than individual movies.
Oh, interesting.
So yes. So with Heath, with that, the connection being, there's a lot of numerological connections to him. I'm just sort of avoiding saying names now, but
okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to say who it is at all, but that does make sense. And if you think about the body of work that he did, there's Brokeback Mountain is one of them.
Yes.
Which was really a cultural shift, really. I think.
Now, if you look, the word Brokeback Mountain, mountain is symbolic of a pyramid, and Brokeback, so it's a broken pyramid, something to do with symbolically the capstone not being placed on the top, a broken pyramid. That's what I got from that. The movie itself was more conditioning to make it more acceptable for the new order that is being put in. There's slowly conditioning to accept certain lifestyles. It's not really about a gay or a lesbian thing. It's just that they keep pushing down. It's like a drip, slowly, more and more accepting, because they couldn't go ahead and put out the depravity that they want to put out immediately. They have to slowly lead you to a point so that you accept it that way. And so I'm just addressing the Brokeback Mountain particularly movie.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that as well. So I want to know the esoteric aspect of Hollywood and the ritual. I mean, right now, being Halloween, I'm sure that there's probably a lot of things going on in this town.
Hollywood. So Hollywood itself is based on the Holy Wood, which is I don't know if you know that there's a certain smell in Hollywood, which comes from the wood that grows there, and Hollywood. This holy wood is the wood of illusion, and so they're using that particular area to manifest through the subconscious of the people who watch, which is most of the Western world. Movies are done in a sort of similar to a dream state. They put the mind into a beta state. So when you dream in, or usually you would dream in pictures, and it's at one to the other, like a movie. It cuts from one to the other. So that puts the mind into a beta state, and then triggers can then be layered throughout the movie to then imprint within the person. If you do that en masse, because the subconscious is the thing that controls and manifests the physical reality, you can manifest what you want through a mass of people watching a movie.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, Max, and also being that having participated in many ways in the creative process down here, that is what is going on. What I find interesting too, my own experience in working in reality television, and then coming out of it, and then realizing that what a manipulation it is on our society as well. And then they just chop it up and call it reality television.
But just by calling it reality is imprinting on the people who are watching it that is what real should be.
Right.
And so you're sort of tricking the mind of the people, because there's nothing.
And let me add right now too that we have a president that was a former reality television star.
Nothing real about it. It's all contrived and it's all staged, essentially. Anyway, so it's not reality at all.
Or they put people.
It's more inversion.
They put people too. Either they put people in situations that, based on their, I think based on their personalities and stuff that they've figured out, because you're definitely cast. You play a part in it. Regardless. You in a sense, even on the show that I was on, Last Comic Standing, I knew by looking at I saw a description of it in Backstage West. It said 10 comics compete and live in a house, Big Brother versus American Idol kind of thing, and I knew I go, they're going to cast every single type of stereotype of demographic that they think lives there. Example. Right. And then they give you a situation to play out between one another based on what they've been watching. I really think they watch you come in, they go, okay, this person, this, and they give you situations, and people reacted in a particular manner that's part of the game.
Who understand they'll have psychs there who will be able to read and scan you very quickly and find vulnerabilities within each person, and then play you in a particular situation that will provoke or invoke a reaction that they want you to have. And very often, a lot of the people, certainly in American Idol and Big Brother, most of these contestants have been MK'd anyway. So I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. And they have to have a certain amount of that, otherwise it's not controllable. And they want to make sure that it seems perfectly real, but in fact it's completely contrived.
Yeah.
And depending on what time of the year it is, for the people who are watching, the premise behind it is to invoke as much a specific type of emotion from the general public, but that they can then be harvested, and that emotion can then be stolen and harvested, because this whole game we're playing is about energy and about who can take the most energy. And fear energy seems to be that fear energy or sexual energy are the easiest ones to invoke and then take from. Okay. So then we're sort of like slipping into a lot of these beings or the elites who are manufacturing these, if we're talking about reality television, are psychic vampires. And so they don't have a central core which is powering themselves. They don't have a sacrum which is powering themselves. So they need to take energy from others to maintain themselves. And that's why you'll find a lot of those types of people doing work in front of.
Who does that sound like? Well, a certain composer comes to mind.
Big audiences, because when you have a massive reaction from an audience, whether it's negative or positive, that energy can be filtered to the person who is creating the reaction.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, in what you're saying. Just by having, even personally experiencing, being a part of that.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I heard I think it was Larry David say that the feeling of getting a laugh when you're on stage is literally like almost like crack. So it becomes addictive, and that the feeling of adulation from a group also becomes an actual addiction, and that comes from the reptilian brain. So it ties in with any and all other addictions as well.
Yeah, no, I know that too, and I know several people like that. It is addictive. You do get a rush of energy from an audience, or doing something like that, being underneath that kind of. Yeah, it's very intoxicating, and some people it can be destroying if you don't get centered. And,
sure.
and realize that we're
Sure.
not living by our ego self. We're living by something else, but something much greater than that, really.
Yes.
So you have to be able to look beyond it, the prison of perception and the feeding of that kind of energy, sort of.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So where I wanted to go, with what I wanted to speak about is there has been the 20th century, the last 100 years that we've just been through. There has been a final attack and assault on the human heart, and the thing that I'm not sure how to. So I'm going to use the word elite. I don't want to. That's so the controlling faction. There's the stream of consciousness that is attempting to have complete control of Earth in every way. Can't do it unless the human heart is completely taken over, because the human heart is the hardest part to control. Through the chakra points, the heart is the part that's completely, mostly protected. They have attacked on multiple levels: genetic manipulation, eugenics. There's a war going on between a priest caste and the scientists, which has been going on pre-Atlantis. It's been going on for 50,000 years, and the war that's going on today, the present war that's going on today, is the same war that was going on before, with the same characters involved. We're wearing different costumes now, and the scientists want, so I'm quote unquote, the scientists want self-control, to control and have self-will. And the priest caste is about divine will and divinity for all, rather than the self or the beast self. And this particular war is coming to a climax now. As we move through 3D into 4D, it's becoming more and more apparent. That's why they've had to up the pressure to shut down the DNA, which is now awakening in a lot of people. They are frantically trying to shut it down so we don't become aware of who we actually are. Because as soon as human beings become aware of who they are, then the reality that we have falsely created here will end.
Max, who are
yeah.
we? I mean, in your opinion,
Yeah.
if we have this awareness? What is it that we're becoming aware of, and what is that thing that they are so afraid of?
Okay, so human beings have a God spark within them. They have the creative. I'm using God loosely. The creative spark within them. They can manifest and create with nothing. They don't have to have something. They don't have to use other. They can create through heart. This particular stream of consciousness, which is using sound to imprison Gaia at the moment, they don't have the ability to manifest and create in 3D like human beings do. So they have to manipulate the subconscious of the human beings to create a false reality that they want to have here. Who are we? This particular version, in my opinion, this particular version of the Homo erectus that we have now, this particular version is, I think, an Anunnaki creation. And I think that I'm not 100% agreed on Zachariah Sitchin's information, where he talks about a slave race. But I do feel that we were made as almost batteries to create a reality for that somebody else or another stream of consciousness wants. And we have been caught in loops and cycles over and over and over again. And the religion has played an enormous, the last 2,000 years of religion has played an enormous part in that. Religious energy, when you go and you pray, when you go to churches and you pray, that's very, very, very powerful energy. And they're working as so you see the outer when you go to a church, but there is always, they work on as above, so below. So there's always something below the church as well. So they're drawing negative energy. They're using the prayer energy for themselves to continue manifesting an inverted reality. And it also connects to the planet Saturn, and Saturn being bound, and using Saturn, which is not. There's a lot of negativity talks about Saturn and how it's a negative thing and a negative planet. Well, it isn't. It was captured and bound, and they're using the. All planets are neutral, and it's just the intent behind, or the will behind, the use of it, which gives the polarity. And they're using the lowest possible frequency that Saturn has to then be amplified through the false moon that we have, and then creating an inverted negative reality. And it's breaking down. And it's literally breaking down now because of an awakening. Literally, I think there's an awakening of the planet itself, and because we are part of the planet, we are in and one the same. The human beings are waking up with the planet and realizing. In terms of numbers, I don't know how many have to wake up to be aware for this to stop. But I know that this is how we're going through this moment now. We're going through it. We'd been through it before when Atlantis fell 15,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago. Is another cataclysm where there was a chance to awaken and remember what was happening, remember who we are. And we didn't. and a lot of the priests went underground, and then we had the Egyptian, the pharaohs from Egypt, then were a lot to do with the dark sorcerers from Atlantis as well, because the Egyptian template of control is what they particularly like. The master-slave reality with top-down hierarchy, with the elite at the top and the slaves going down, literally in that pyramid shape, is what they see as the ultimate way to have control.
Max, I want to go into the LA area and the Laurel Canyon area and the MK Ultra and the military industrial complex, and your knowledge on that with the entertainment business. And I've looked into the whole Disney aspect of what they've done to the young stars there, and again I'm interested in Laurel Canyon and your knowledge. You mentioned earlier.
Disney and Crowley were sort of synonymous. Walt Disney and Aleister Crowley were synonymous, and they were working together, and embedded within the Disney stories. I mean, it's very apparently very pedophilic, but within the stories there are secrets that are put in and embedded within it, and there's mystery school knowledge within it. So interesting you bring up Disney. It's totally to condition, and it's very important for them to get hold of the children first, because as soon as possible, because they're the new creators. So Disney was put together with around the time of Project Paperclip, when the Nazis came over. So and that was one of the powerful attacks on the human heart again. If you have a specific question about Laurel Canyon, then it's naval intelligence. There's a base as you go. If you're coming down, the area. If you're coming down Ventura Boulevard and you go north, you go over the canyon. As you go over the canyon, Mulholland is up there too, and the Getty Center, as you said, is around there. That John Paul Getty money, so multi-billions were put into the base that is in the mountain there. And Frank Zappa was involved. I don't know whether or not he there's a lot of handling and programming going on. I know that they were involved in it deeply. I know that David Geffen and the producer David Geffen and the producer Rick Rubin are high magicians, high sorcerers, and most of what goes on in this space is technology and magic, black magic, negative magic, to continue to maintain the system that is going on now.
I've noticed.
It kind of reminds me of the movie They Live. I also want to add something about when we taped this. I didn't know that Jared Leto was living in the Air Force Base that's in Laurel Canyon. And then while I was on Revolution Radio, I did a whole thing on that, researching into how Jared Leto moved there. And there was a Vanity Fair article about him living in the Air Force Base, and that there was a guillotine there that he kept. It just happened to be there when he moved in, and he decided to keep it. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, right? I mean, since Jared Leto, a lot of people do videos on Jared Leto now. It's almost like he's a cult leader. He takes his band and they go to Croatia and they're all dressed in white. And it's all a bunch of middle-aged women. Maybe they're not middle-aged, but Jared Leto is an interesting person in this. And then also I read that when Steven Spielberg was in film school, that he lived there as well. They housed him at that Air Force Base. And the Air Force Base is also known, like, for example, Marilyn Monroe had like, I guess, a passport, or it was, had a card that let her in to the military base, and like the Manchurian Candidate, and the people who made the Manchurian Candidate were part in that Air Force base, and part of, for some reason, deciding like part of that script, because it is basically talking about MK Ultra mind control.
I lived in Pasadena, California, for a really long time, and and again, for myself, there's that realization of what actually is really around you after being there for so long, in a way, because there's Caltech, there's JPL, there's the whole NASA, all that stuff going on in that town, and then you have Pasadena Playhouse and this sort of entertainment thing going on, although not quite as prevalent. And I remember one time I was at a bar in Pasadena, California, and this guy just sort of randomly says, do you know that L. Ron Hubbard and Anton LaVey knew each other? Yeah, and then there's Jack Parsons, and then I keep for myself, it seems like more of the story unfolds where there's the Jack Parsons connection, and then Aleister Crowley, and then the whole black magic
the Agape Lodge there in Pasadena, yes, and also Dr. Drew Pinsky has 2 rehab centers in Pasadena, and Drew Pinsky is a programmer and a handler for celebrities, and he is deeply entrenched in that in Pasadena. Just another, I know the guy. I know Drew Pinsky, and he is very much not talking about Jimmy Kimmel as well. Drew Pinsky is connected to Jimmy Kimmel. That Masonic building that's on Hollywood Boulevard there, it had to be Jimmy Kimmel had to do his show there. It was set up for him to do that there. He's also part of there's covens, so he's part of one of the higher covens that go on in Hollywood, and the way that the layout is of the guests and the interviews within the Freemasonic building is all kept exactly how it was when it was used as a gathering spot. So the rituals that had gone on within that building, ritual is so important to them, because when you do a ritual, you then draw on all the energy of anybody who had ever done that ritual before. Because when you do a ritual, it creates a morphogenetic field that then you can attach to and empower yourself. So ritual is critical to them.
Oh, wow. That's it. I do also now, isn't the word Hollywood also the word from the holly tree? It's the sorcerer's wand it's made out of. Is that
okay? So they call it Hollywood because that particular the holly tree is connected to paganism. The holly berries, interestingly enough, Halle Berry is connected. That was a name coded for her because she's a monarch. The berries from the tree. In the Egyptian book, there's a book, very famous book called the Egyptian Book of Living and Dying, and there's a book called the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and they were both written 2,000-3,000 years. They're old book, 2,000-3,000 years ago. And in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it goes into detail about using about how they were even back then mind controlling, creating mind controlled slaves using potions and burning certain things and using berries, and so the holly and the berry are very significant. Yeah, and it's an illusory wood. The wood, in paganism, the wood connected to that tree is a wood that will cast. Will fool you. It's there to fool. It's a wood to trick, and it's also connected to the phallus too. to a phallus worship, Osiris phallus worship. The Oscar. When you win an Oscar in Hollywood, Oscar, the Osiris, Ka would be the energy that runs up and down the spine of human beings, which is creative force energy. So the gold Oscar statue is just an ode to Osiris.
How many of the people do you think in Hollywood? I mean, again, do you think that a lot of the celebrities that we see today have they made deals? I mean, are they practicing? Are they practicing witches, or are some of them? It seems like there might be a combination of some that are aware and then some that are basically have been MK Ultra'd.
I think that there is a great deal of blackmail going on within it, and I think there are quite a few who don't want to be doing the things that they're doing and don't want to be involved in that, but they will pick people who have a propensity to do things that are debauched or against the law, and then gather information on them, hold the information, and then say, unless you do this, you'll be exposed. So there's that part, there's that aspect of it. When you're talking about a shattered mind from trauma-based MK, the front altar, which is the walk around everyday altar, has absolutely no idea that any of the other ones exist. And so because of that, it's very, very hard to blame, because they don't know. In terms of deals, I don't know. But possibly deals from generations before, possibly deals from 100 years ago that this particular family member will get this if this is done. 7 generations back, I know that goes on. But as I said, so the altars are not aware of any of the other ones. They think the front altar is all that there is, and if a trigger word or a sound or a frequency or a color is then done, it could only be a very mild shift to an altar that is very, very similar to the front altar that you see, but it will do things slightly different. So I think it is a combination of both. And I think there are genuinely some literally sociopathic, psychopathic people in there who get kicks from doing it as well.
How many of the people that are that work in Hollywood would you say, actors? It seems like a lot of them they seem to be like you said, like Heath Ledger. They're groomed from being kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible that somebody who may have walked in, but not necessarily groomed as a kid, but they still latch on and they're still able to sort of somewhat MK Ultra them because they're subjected to being there?
They're also looking for the extremely ambitious. So the ones who will do anything to get to the top, they'll usually go behind them. Royal Arch Freemasonry is an offshoot of Freemasonry, and the Royal Arch Freemasons are known to do pretty much anything to get ahead, or to get up, to the next level in their career, or a partner that they want. So I think, I agree with you.
You know who comes to mind when you say that is Madonna.
Yes. Okay, I think she was groomed. I think she was groomed young to play the Madonna in rituals. I think that she was used outside of her, because most of her videos are ritualistic and doing that. But she's also used as a high priestess in rituals in the 80s. Numerous people have told me that, and there is a lot of pornography that is involved. They have a deep underground pornography where they involve all of these people, and they keep these tapes too. So I'm not sure. If my instinct says that she came from an Italian. She's connected to this Italian bloodline, and that they groomed her from the beginning.
Oh, interesting. Because it's interesting that they depict her as being somebody who wanted to, just was really, really ambitious and would do anything to get ahead.
Yes.
Which seems like an archetype that they like to push out there for women to, or people to adhere to.
Yeah. And also it's going to like so we're moving. So they're trying to implement the new world, this new world that they keep talking about. What is it like? What is the new world? I heard it so many times. Okay, well maybe there's now a great time to. Kissinger has said it so many times, to implement the new world order, but they never actually say what that is.
Right.
They didn't say anything about it at all, and they just sort of leave you with that those words. And I think there's power in the words that also invokes fear in people, and and they like that. But they want to have a completely the New World religion. I'm sort of watching it being introduced. And they have to sort of get rid of and damn all the other religions first. And it seems like Christians are being attacked, Muslims are being attacked verbally, but more so than ever before, almost like they're trying to incite a race war so that they can create that, and then someone can step in and say, hey, this is a new idea, let's put this in, and then implement the new set of rules, which the New World religion has its basis in self and do what thou wilt, Crowley-esque kind of ideas, which is basically very satanic, and but disguised under. Often they're disguising it with transhumanism and atheism, sort of then blending it into Satanism. And I know it's kind of Satanism is kind of a general, not general word, but when I say that, I mean sort of like the worship of the self, completely.
Which, in many ways, when people say that we're becoming enlightened, or the Enlightenment, or is not being about the self, it's being at least. For us to graduate to where we're at least 51% service to others and not necessarily the self.
Right, and that, but so the science.
Okay, let me pause that for a minute, because that's a David Wilcock. That's a David Wilcock. That was something that we always at that time. The thing was that in order to advance, go on to wherever, you had to be at least 51% in service of others. I always feel like it should be more than that, but whatever.
The war between the priest caste, it would be for the divine will for all, and the scientists are the worship of the self and for the self. So and this war is the continuing war.
Well, that's even with if you notice, that's what reality television does. Because they always set up there's a condition, here's this prize that these people are competing to get to, and look what they're going to do to each other to be able to do it.
Yeah, and how much will you sell out?
Right.
How far will you go to sell out your friends to do that? Because that's how they want it. They want to maintain the law of the jungle. They want to maintain the might is right. It's all the traits from the reptilian brain they want to maintain, because. To get rid of compassion in every way, to shut down the heart in every way, because once the heart is shut down, then we're all pretty much it's about breaking the heart. It's about heartbreak. It's about breaking the heart. And I've seen in Hollywood as well, if you if you harm or you break the heart of if you're in a relationship, and this happens on a grand scale, they seem to get rewarded for it. And I'm just bringing up the Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain. I know it's not specifically that, but there was a huge payoff for her as soon as he died. As soon as he was out of the picture, she was in movies and she was all glammed up, and she did
She
those things.
skyrocketed after that.
Yeah,
Yes,
within
immediately.
weeks.
Yeah.
Within weeks
It's
of
like,
it.
yeah, I remember that. Yes.
And that goes on. That goes on. I mean, and something just came to mind with Eric Clapton and his son Connor Clapton died and fell out of the window of a hotel. Now, I'm not saying that is that, but it seems to me that a lot of these, I mean, rock bands from the 70s and 80s, Zeppelin, Sabbath, the Beatles, the Stones, one of them has dies, and it's always the one with the softest heart. It's the one that's the kindest. Usually the one that goes, because that's more pain. There's more pain and suffering that way, on a grander scale. Because even if you didn't know that person, if somebody who has heart is killed, because we're all connected, you will feel, the average person will feel, general public will feel it a lot more than had they not been compassionate people.
So do you think, I mean, and you know who else just came to mind to me is John Belushi. John Belushi dies, and then his brother comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, and then yes, and so that, I mean, that's a huge sellout. For your, to sacrifice your brother, and then he had a career, and for 30 years. And Belushi, and John Belushi was known to be the kinder of the two. The one who died, John died, right?
Yeah, John Belushi died. Yeah, he overdosed at the Chateau Marmont.
That's right.
By the way, Robin Williams was present.
Yes, he was.
As well as Robert De Niro.
De Niro was there, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, that's to my understanding, and they both, of course, scuttled out of there, right?
Yes, but being there at the death, there are rituals that go on when somebody dies, and they can draw energy, or the soul energy, from the eyes of the person that is dying, and that happens. So I don't know if that happened there, but when there's someone hanging around at the death, I always thought there was some connection or something was going on there. Yeah. With Robin Williams, because I think that Robin Williams is deeply involved in it, and not saying that he was an evil man, but I think that they had a lot of dirt on him, and he knew a lot of secrets, and he became a liability, I think, and they got rid of him for that.
It's interesting that you bring him up. Because I've been. Again, if you talk about, what I'm 1 degree away from separation, there's that going on. I mean, I never met Robin specifically, but somebody that I'm very close to was. And I'll be right back with more Freedom of Joyce in just a moment with Max Spiers. Stay tuned for the rest of the show and the Halloween. Happy Halloween. So we'll be right back.
All right.
So, I just wanted to play the first hour of that, just in honor of Max Spiers, and the fact that it is a 10-year anniversary since I did that show. Let me put my camera on. Hey. Okay. Yeah. So I am going to take. I did create a couple songs about pertaining to Max. I believe I was celebrating his birthday, or there was not too long ago. And if you've been listening, he did talk about the human heart. And so let me find it. And so I create a song called Earth is the Heart, because he's always talked about how, what Max says is that out of the solar system, Earth is like the heart of the solar system. And so, he talks about an attack on the heart, attack on compassion. And even though it's Halloween, I know I guess like because they say the Halloween, the veil is the thinnest right now between us and whatever is on the other side. Same thing with tomorrow, the Dos de la Mortis celebration, the honoring of your ancestors. So it continues over to tomorrow as well. And anyway, so energetically, I feel that an evening like, let's say Halloween, can have sort of a negative energy, like kind of for me, like all week it's been a little wonky, a little bit is what I can say, like wonky with my phone, wonky with computers. There's a lot of electrical things going on. Strange stuff, a lot of drama, which we're going to get to here in just a moment, because I know like a lot of you people going in and out, they're like, oh, we're waiting for her to talk about us. She's going to talk about us soon. And I am a little bit. I'm gonna address like a few things before I go. I might actually retitle this video because when I created it in the morning, I had a different concept. But now that later on in the day, when I was remembered that it's been a 10-year anniversary of doing this interview with Max Spiers, and I thought, I've got to share that. And in fact, I'm going to share the video in the video in, darn it, what am I doing here? In the chat here, so that if you do want to listen to the full interview, and I've had people lie and say it never happened, but as you can see, it did, and that isn't AI, or that isn't a deep fake. That's a real interview. Matter of fact, all my interviews are real, even the one on Lift the Veil. So let's go ahead and play this song. I'll probably do maybe a couple of songs before I come back. So we'll be right back.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines of gods in suits and laboratory dreams. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines, of gods in suits and laboratory dreams. He got to know what they won't show, and you've got to know what they won't show. He said the media would be their domain, to plant the fear and the anger and hate, and a king would come our souls under his black leather boots, saying, you got to know what they won't show. And you've got to know what they won't show. He wanted a new world order, and it was hard to ignore. He called out the governments of the world, and he swore he'd take them down. Now I met this man in the late 1990s, a town hall in a place called St. Helens, in a time when we thought the war was done, when the good guys had won. You got to know what they won't show, and you've got to know what they won't show.
All right. I've got someone in the chat saying interesting things. I know you want the truth, but you're nowhere near finding it. Okay, Mega Man. Mega Man's going on about how I need to forgive myself and how I've got problems. But you know what? You don't know me. Like, none of you guys, like this is, I knew this was going to happen. I watched your show several times. Hi, Yvette. So I'm going to, I just, don't go with that stuff. I don't think somebody who calls himself Mega Man should be judging what I need to do or who I am, because you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know me. So I don't think, somebody, you don't know what I've what's happened in my life or what I've done or what I need to understand as the truth. Right? You don't know me. So if you're going to play those kind of games in my chat, I'm going to get rid of you. It's not the energy we want here on Not My Rabbit Hole. So Yvette, thank you for coming to the show, and thank you for enjoying my content. I really appreciate that. So you asked a question if Max Spiers is alive anymore, and he isn't, unfortunately. He actually passed away not even a year after that interview. So that interview took place on October 31st, and I think it was July 16th that he died the next year. So, it's, not quite a full year. Maybe 9 months later, he passed away in Poland. And that's a whole nother topic. I suggest that you look at information about his death. I've done a lot of looking into what happened, but it was mysterious. Some people say it's an overdose. He had pneumonia. He was staying in Poland at a lady's house. He died on her couch, unfortunately. And what was odd about it is that his computer was completely wiped, and so was his cell phone. So even the SIM card was scratched, and it was mailed back to his mother, Vanessa Bates, and in a book that was about ritual sacrifice. So the whole thing is kind of dark and creepy, and some people believe that he was taken out. And then there's other people that if you look up Max Spiers, they'll say, oh, he was schizophrenic and this and that. There's this other negativity or naysayers pigeonholing, taking away the body of work. But for example, what he was saying here, they're trying to ruin his reputation. So, but I really love that interview, and I love what he said, and I think it was a really good conversation. And I don't know about you, but I enjoyed listening to it again, because it's been a while since I've listened to him. That's the definition of dark and creepy. Hi, Aiken. Happy Halloween. It's probably, you're probably past that. I don't know. How many hours is different between the time here in the United States, and I'm Pacific time, to where you're at? I'm curious, what time of day is it for you right now? So I should know this question. Okay, so let me get to the rest of the show. We're at like 8:20 right now. I don't want to, take up too much time, and I don't want to spend too much time on the negativity that's been happening, but I do want to address a little bit of it. So if you, and I notice that like a lot of people are popping in and out, and I feel like I have like flying monkeys ready to like come down on me. Oh, is it hoax? Is it Ian Will? Is it Becky? There's all this stuff going on. I guess I poked the beehive again, but no, I wouldn't say I poked the beehive, because they haven't poking me. So it starts with David Schroeder. I'm gonna give you the quickest version I can do with this. David Schroeder is a guy who claims to be a satanic ritual abuse survivor, and he uses Max Spiers a lot in his grift, but he never knew Max Spiers. He never interviewed Max Spiers, and he did an interview with Max Spiers' mom after he passed away, but he couldn't even get his name right. He was calling him Max Weber. And what's kind of funny, like, I don't like really trolls that make fake names and stuff like that, but I've seen people troll him in his chat going, calling themselves Max Weber because they know he really messed up. And David Schroeder uses Max in his grift, in his examples or litany of people that maybe died because of what they were saying. And I'm not saying that didn't happen. I mean, Max was talking about a lot of the things that became part of the right-wing political conspiracy later on. And I've even brought that up later. I brought that up to Miles Johnston. I said, do you realize that Max was like one of the forerunners of talking about this? He didn't take it and spin it into it was that it was just the liberals or the deep state. Now the whole thing's kind of all over the place. But David Schroeder, I do believe, comes out of that genre. He'll say that he didn't know certain people before him, but I believe that he probably did. And so he spins this thing. And then, of course, he talks about me, and he says things that I harmed him and I'm guilty for it, and just all these different things. And I want to mention the damage when you have a David Schroeder, being like this sort of barking mouthpiece out there with negativity, calling you a satanic pedophile and a child trafficker, and all these terrible labels about people that he has no proof to corroborate. So that happens, he does it. But I also got notified today about somebody who was following me on Facebook and also on Instagram that had like a disturbing image, and I have it saved, and I was going to maybe show it, and then I thought, well, I don't really want to show it. But there's a lot of people all in this big collage, like as if he made a poster board of different personalities on YouTube. Matter of fact, Sean Atwood is in there, so I felt like, well, I'm with Sean Atwood. At least I'm in fairly good company. But and they have these little symbols and weird things, and the guy's talking like he's a targeted individual, but he's actually, pretty much being weird and harassing us. And he took the Polaroid, put it on like a grill. There's a video on Instagram of a Polaroid of that image, and then he's smearing some weird stuff, like it's almost like it looks like almost like feces on it. And I don't know if he burned it. I don't know if it was a ritual. I don't know what was going on. And he's weird. I shouldn't say he's weird. I don't want to. Well, he seems off, and he was, going on, and just when he spoke, he didn't make sense. And I think that, why is that happening? Like, why am I on this guy's board? Well, it's because there's a group of people online, not just David Schurter and everything like that are spreading rumors about me that I'm not guilty of. Like they're bringing in people that are maybe not okay already. And what if one of us gets harmed because of that? Because some crazy believes the story that you're telling people. And one of the things that I do want to bring up that happened recently, because Blazing Scar, and I'm going to mention her, shared this on her site, because here's the deal. Here's what happened. Blazing Scar, did some videos. So let me get back to David Schurter. So David Schurter is doing a whole litany of people that apparently were responsible for Isaac Cappy's death, and that are child trafficking murderers. And he mentions our name almost like every time he goes on camera. And one of those people is a guy named Gabe Hoffman, who is, and I'm just talking to my guest here who maybe doesn't know, Yvette Shine Bright. So, right. So, because she asked me questions, like so I'm just gonna say it again. So he goes through a litany of people, and all these people are on a list of being harassed by a guy who named Thomas Schoenberger. It just so happened, like there's a history between all of us and him, and it just so happens that all the trafficking pedo people are his on his list that he doesn't like, that he posts about daily and this and that. And so there's been a big long feud, or maybe it's not happening right now, but at one point Gabe Hoffman took out a lawsuit on Thomas Schoenberger. And now, like since July, David brought Gabe Hoffman into the list that's been growing for like 2 years. And so recently he shared, he talked about, I've got this evidence about Gabe Hoffman that really proves that he is a pedo and this and this. And it's on my blog site. Well, what we found out, what I found out was that his source was an anti-Semite white nationalist who is like 5'4" or something like that. Like he's really short. Like he's probably the tiniest white nationalist in like the history of America. And I'm thinking, this guy, like, because when you talk about people that white nationalists or white supremacists or whatever, they're supposed to be the Uberman, the ultimate race, but they're only like 5 feet tall. I'm like, sit down. Like you're not the genetic prototype here, right? So I found that so I talked about it, because this group tends to be right wing. They tend to be racist. There's a history of them being that way, and I thought it was provocative that this was happening. They use certain symbols that can be considered anti-Semitic, and there's this underbelly. So here was this guy David Schurter talking about who we're not. He doesn't just accuse us of being pedos. We are Nazi pedos. All right. So that is the coin here, right? But Gabe Hoffman is a Jewish man, so he's using a source against a Jewish man from an anti-Semite. I mean, like that's a bias. Like if you're going to use somebody that is racially biased against a person as evidence, you got to look at that evidence and go, you know what, they could be sharing this because they're biased. Well, the evidence wasn't nothing. It was basically the lawsuit between him and Thomas Schoenberger, and some sort of like demand letter to ask a person, a woman named Denise Mattow, who lost a couple channels for being anti-Semitic, to make apologies and take videos down for him. Now, I ended up getting into this feud with this guy, Travis LeBlanc, who was David's source. Not a feud, but a debate on X, and he's showing me these things, and he's bringing up Denise, and I'm like, why are you bringing up Denise? Because it has nothing to do with this. I'm just saying, David shouldn't have used this, and he was calling people Nazi pedos. Why is he taking a source from somebody who's practically that? When somebody says they're an anti-Semitic white nationalist, there's something going on there, right? So I found another site called Kiwi Farms, because the link that he gave was Kiwi Farms, which is a hate forum that was removed off Cloudflare, and they dox people, and they harass them, they swat them, they target them so much that they've actually had 3 people unaliven themselves from what they're doing. And so I pointed this out, and then there's a certain individual that was also posting those kind of sentiments, because if you're talking about the heart, you're talking about compassion, right? I criticized her for it, and this person was, her name is Rebecca Dean, and matter of fact, on my YouTube community page, you can see where she tried to contact me on Facebook 2 years ago, but took the messages away. So some of these people have sought me out on different platforms and stuff. And so she started doing these videos, saying, no gas chambers, Tere Joyce, and showing these, they'd be long videos, and she'd be showing reasons why the Holocaust didn't happen, according to her, and acting like she needs to educate me and everything like that. And so it all kind of escalated. And there was one video that she did that she was using private photos of me, photos of me out with friends, photos of me on my bed. And I did a privacy complaint. And not only did the video get a privacy complaint, but it also got a harassment and bullying strike, because she was bullying me with my own pictures. And then yesterday, and I do want to bring this up because these are not my words, and I want people to know that I never said this in a video, but somebody has taken me and altered what I said by taking a video of mine and putting words behind it that I never said. So I want to show you the actual video, the real video. Okay, so I'm going to show you the real video. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'll show you the real video of me. Okay, this is where they took the footage from. A little bit. Today, I am using my Osmos Pocket 3 camera, and I don't know if you can see here, I've got my microphone on. I'm not streaming, I'm just using the camera because I'm trying to educate myself on working with it. Now here, I want to show you something. That's the original. Oh, what was I going to show? Turn this around. This is the lot. Okay, so that's the original footage, right? You get the. I'm showing you this. And good night, Aiken. Enjoy your dinner. And then I'm going to show you the video that Becky shared on her channel, right? So, in fact, I think I will go. Let me see. Okay, so here's her community post that she put out, right? All right, and this is what she said. The harasser, just wow. I see nobody can get along with Tere Joyce unless they are her pedo accused Daniel Ryan Dowd and her Satanist Pazuzu friend Aiken Chris Derp. Okay, so this is the video. This is the video. I'm going to play a little bit of it.
You know what? Because you're an illegal and you know what? You don't live in Flower Mound and you're door dashing. You know what? Why are you entitled to be here with an illegal card? Go ahead.
I don't know.
You know what? I'll do that.
All right, so you can tell it's the same video, and I'm gonna play the whole video, but they're making it look like I'm, it says Terry Joyce ran up harassing immigrants on film, bigotry, ICE, hashtag ICE. Oh, did I not show that? Okay, I forgot to show it. Okay, let's go back. Let's show it.
You know what? Because you're an illegal and you know what? You don't live in Flower Mound and you're door dashing. You know what? Why are you entitled to be here with an illegal card? Go ahead.
I don't know.
You know what? I'll do that.
Okay, so I never said these things, but this account, who, by the way, I'm gonna click onto it and show you. This was done 3 weeks ago by Clyde Cash, or it's, so this is the channel. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. This is the channel. And what's interesting to me about the channel is that they're talking about the regular people. Jilly, who called me a Zionist recently. Scotty explains to Jilly. It's this whole group right here. Hoax Wars, who also harasses or, does the whole pedo thing against me. And he's talking about hoax, Eon Will. So it's definitely like coming from that camp. See, that's hoax right there. Daniel Ryan Columbus and Eon Will. And then they're mentioning Tams. And they're taking footage and making it look like I'm saying something that I'm not.
You know what?
And Becky shares it here. I hope you can see this. This is what I was sharing. The harasser, just wow. So she's sharing that. And let me just remind you, too, that Becky came on the scene, or she didn't come on the scene, but, she was part of a court case that happened. There was cyberbullying happening with a woman who actually worked for the TV network that did the investigation, and another woman, and then she was like a third party to it. She got an article out of it. There was a court case. This woman got sentenced. But what was interesting, they never met her. Anyways, she's come out. She acts like she's a victim. She says that she's a victim, but she's very much a perpetrator. And so I just find that. Just want to mention that. So I want to bring up also. Let me see if I can show my community page, because I think I've reposted some of their posts of what they've done. So yeah, I'm going to show you my community page for a moment, just to kind of go through a few things. And this is like the DM she sent me October 29th, 2023. So almost exactly 2 years ago, in a few days. And so there. In that video. So. And then here's some stuff that Thomas has said. But there's one thing that he said that really, oh, I got a message here. Hold on. Okay. There was something that was my editor, actually. I'm getting ready to have an article published. So it's going through the editing. She asked me if I had any pictures of it. And I said yes. She doesn't know I'm you know. I was like, soon as I'm done with my podcast, maybe I can find what I'm looking for on Mr. Schoenberger's site. Because this one really just takes the cake. Let's see. Yeah, good. I'm not showing that yet. Because, okay, this is it. So because of the fact that I've called people out for being anti-Semitic, here's where it goes with Thomas Schoenberger. Here's where it goes. So we all see right through the hack. She's a manipulative, cagey, failed comedian and congenital liar. I wonder if she imagines the red wine in her glass is the blood of babies murdered in Gaza. After all, she's already proven that she doesn't care about teenagers being involved in disgusting porn flicks. I don't respond to her loony missives because she's got no right to take a moral high ground, considering that she's burned landlords engaged in sketchy porn in her 40s and barely legal teenagers, and how she gang stalks with people who identify with sewers and detritus. She repeatedly gets caught in her own filthy lies, and a rebuttal is always to accuse people who call this filthy excuse of a human being. Plus, she's always stealing Patrick Moran's artwork. Okay, so there's that, which is pretty awful, really, if you think about it. And the blood of Gaza thing is because I, of course, call people out for being racist, because there's also videos of Rebecca Dean calling a black man the N-word like 3 times, and she doesn't have any apologies to it. But what was really disturbing, and this is, to me, this is disturbing, is he took like one of my shows that this is screenshots of a performance that I did on Comedy Time. And he's done this to me and posted it. Can you see that? And okay, so then this is what he writes. When the hag known as Teresa Joyce Randolph sends a reminder to her empty YouTube community, reminding the public, in case you missed the last stream, well, hag, you had 3 to 4 people watching billions, while billions ignored you. He needs to rewrite that. That's not merely a blessing. It's a metric I can prove. You are known as a scheming, two-faced con artist. You are a failed comedian, failed human being. And the day you were born, your father exclaimed, "Don't flush, it's got eyes. Don't go away mad, just go away." So, that's going on. And I could go more into this, but I won't. So, and again, this stuff has been going for a really, really long time for me. Like, we're talking, I think the fallout between Thomas Schoenberger and I happened in November of 2022, and it's followed, here we are at 2025. And when I talk about things like Kiwi farms and harassment and stuff like that, all those kind of things have actually really happened to me. I've been doxxed by Thomas, by other people with Thomas. And I have been defamed and lied about constantly. I had a threat from Becky that she was going to call my job, and she's going to call the university and try to get me kicked out. After, and by the way, I want to pat myself on the back, because part of our celebration today wasn't just, well, it was my mom's birthday, but she also wanted to, we were celebrating that I got a 4.0 my final semester, 16 units, getting my degree in digital journalism. So, and now I'm getting my MFA in creative nonfiction. And I did talk to Title IX and some of the people there, and they go, well, you know what? Being on your academic record, we're, we know what's going on. We're just going to ignore what they say because they have no jurisdiction. We only deal with things that happen on campus. Other outside sources cannot access us to do anything about me. So just so you guys know, and just so you know, but just the fact that they threaten it, and that they tag my, they think they're tagging my employment or like the school videos and stuff like that in what they do. So being that I just listened to Max Spiers talk about how we have compassion and we have we have heart, and that the elite or the powers that be are wanting to, whatever you want to call that. Some people want to go into like they're draconian and this and that, and we get into like other entities. But let's just stay compassionate. Let's stay forgiving of other people. And if you come to my channel, like I can say that none of these people have. I say, look, come and investigate me, because I know that I'm not guilty of anything that's being said about me. So, but I've had people, call me racist or say I'm a Nazi. I don't do racist things. I don't say the N-word. I don't call a black man the N-word. I believe the Holocaust happened. I don't agree with what's going on in Gaza. I've done media about that. I've interviewed a protest against genocide in Palestine 2 years ago, before Hamas even invaded, like months before Hamas invaded, Palestine. So I've done a photo. Photo essay where I took pictures of a protest here in Fresno with Palestinians against genocide. So I don't want to hear. I mean, I care about the human race. I want us to go past this. I want us to find our human heart and our human potential. I'm not about any of these things that everybody's accusing me of. And I think that when you look at me and you hear me talk, if you're able to pick up on people's energy and see whether they're honest, I'm not making up stuff like that about them and accusing them of things that they're not guilty of. And, I rarely criticize anybody's appearance, or I don't call them a hag. I don't tell them that they're a failure. I will, however, I'm highly suspicious that Thomas Schoenberger is a real composer. I'm not saying that he isn't. I don't say he's, you're a failed composer. But I'm suspicious of it, and there's a lot of people that are suspicious of it. Talk about using AI. There's singers in his videos that he doesn't give credit for. So who's singing those lyrics, or the scale, or the song, or the notes? Who's singing that? Whose voice is that? And so. I think that's a legitimate question, because if you have a performer in a piece that you've uploaded on YouTube and you had somebody actually sing what you composed, you should give them credit. Why aren't you giving that person their due? So that being said, I don't like to really go over 2 hours, but if you did like this video, please give it a like, a thumbs up. Share with your friends, and especially if you like the Max Max Smears. Max Spiers part. I think I might listen to the other half of that video. But I'll play one more song that I wrote for Max Spiers, and I think this is the one. I think this is the one that Vanessa really liked.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines, of gods in suits and laboratory dreams. You gotta believe that Earth is the heart of a billion-star life. They're watching our lives. Yeah, they're gonna be here on the ride. On the ride. On the ride.
Actually, I don't think it's that one. I think it's this one. Hold on.
He crossed the veil and he named the names. Play the Yoko's dangerous game. Laptop missing, SIM cards burned. A mother waits for the truth unlearned. A lover swears he touched the fire. Mind control. When the curtain falls, we'll know. Was it real or a circus show? Mind control. And when the curtain falls, we'll know. Was it real or a circus show? Mind control.
Bye, you guys. Happy Halloween.
He crossed the